Arthur sat in his lounge. It was a Tuesday morning. Sunlight painted stripes on the carpet. His favorite armchair felt soft. He held a warm cup of tea. Everything was perfectly ordinary, or so it seemed for a moment. Then a small thing happened, a strange, quiet flicker, just at the edge of his sight. He blinked, thinking it was tiredness. Perhaps he needed more sleep. He looked at his teacup. The blue pattern seemed to shimmer, not like a reflection of light. It was more like the cup itself wavered, as if it were not quite solid. He frowned, a little puzzled. This was most unusual. He had never seen anything like it. Arthur rubbed his eyes hard. He hoped the strangeness would go away. But when he opened them again, the room itself seemed to sigh. The edges of the window frame, they seemed to ripple, just a little, like heat rising from a summer road. But this was inside his own home. It was cool and still inside. A small knot of worry began to form. The familiar things in his room, the grandfather clock in the corner, the vase of flowers on the table. They started to look different, almost transparent for a heartbeat. He could almost see through them. Not clearly, but like looking through water. The feeling was deeply unsettling. What was happening to his world? Or was it happening to him? The strange flickers did not stop. They grew stronger, more insistent. The edges of his furniture blurred, then they seemed to multiply. His sturdy oak coffee table. It looked like it had many edges, all existing at the same time. He felt a little dizzy. It was hard to focus his eyes. The world was becoming a puzzle. He stared at his bookshelf. It stood against the far wall. But now the wall seemed to bend. The bookshelf stretched impossibly. He could see the front of the books and the back of the books and even the inside of the books, all at once in a confusing swirl. It was like seeing every side and every page open before him. Fear began to prickle his skin. This was not a dream, he knew. He was wide awake and terrified. But beneath the fear, a spark. A tiny spark of something else. Was it curiosity or wonder? His mind struggled to understand. What new sense was this? What new way of seeing? The world was unfolding itself. He reached out a trembling hand. He wanted to touch the bookshelf, to see if it still felt solid. His fingers moved towards a book, a red one, his favorite. But his hand did something strange. It seemed to pass through space, an angle that should not exist. He did not touch the front. He touched the side from the front. Arthur sat back, his heart pounding. This was not a problem with his eyes. It was not a trick of the light. This was reality itself, changing, or perhaps his perception of it. He remembered things he had read, stories about other dimensions, places beyond our simple three, length, width, and height. What if there was more? Imagine a flat, two-dimensional world, like a drawing on a piece of paper. A square living in that world. It only knows forward, backward, left, right. It cannot understand up. If a three-dimensional sphere passed through, the square would only see a circle that appears, grows, then shrinks. It would be a mystery, a magical, impossible event. Now Arthur felt like that square, but he was seeing a new direction. A fourth dimension, perhaps. Objects were not just surfaces to him. They were not just their outsides. He saw their volume, their entirety. He saw them through and through. A teacup was not just a shape, it was all its past positions and all its potential futures, shimmering. Time itself felt different now. It was not just a river flowing one way. Moments seemed to stretch and connect. He could almost see the past, lingering like a faint echo, and the future, the soft whisper. The present was a rich, deep place, full of more than he ever knew. It was overwhelming, yet beautiful, a new, vast landscape for his mind. The scientific part of his mind awoke. It tried to label, to understand. The universe was not just three-dimensional space. It had hidden depths, hidden folds, like a crumpled piece of paper. What he saw was perhaps a glimpse into that larger structure. The laws of physics felt different, more complex, more wondrous. He was a child seeing the ocean. But the emotional impact was huge. He felt a profound sense of awe. The world was so much more than he had ever imagined, yet he also felt terribly alone. Who could he tell about this? Would anyone believe him, or would they think he was mad? This new sight was a secret, a beautiful, terrifying secret. His old understanding of reality, it had shattered into a million pieces, like a glass dropped on a stone floor. But something new was forming from those broken pieces, a larger, more intricate picture. He was no longer just Arthur. He was a witness to something vast, something beyond ordinary human life. His place in the universe felt different. The world was like a tesseract, a four-dimensional shape he once read about, always changing, always revealing more. It was a mind-bending journey, one that had started in his lounge with a simple cup of tea. Now every moment was an exploration. His perception was forever altered. He saw the depth, the flow, the all, and he knew life would never be simple again.